Hello, it's Lesley Fightmaster. Today's class is yoga for hamstring flexibility, requested by Joanna Jeske. Thank you, Joanna, for requesting this class. So we'll start off sitting nice and tall. And I want to take this opportunity also to thank you so much for all of your support for Fightmaster Yoga. Let's bring our hands together in front of the heart. Take a moment here to set your intention for your practice. And then come onto our backs. So if you have a yoga strap, grab it, or a towel. I didn't bring a strap today, so I grabbed a sweater. If you have a sweater, that'll work as well. Whatever you've got, have it handy. We'll come onto our backs and just extend through the heels for a moment, and then draw the right knee into the chest, putting our strap or whatever you're using on the ball of the right foot. Now, take your right hip forward, so right hand, the right thumb to the right hip crease, and draw that right hip forward, and then pull that left hip up toward your head and draw it in towards center. Then hold the strap any way you like. You can also, if you're not so flexible, just extend the leg out, but keep the knee bent. We don't want keep the knee straight. We don't want to bend the knee. So if that means that your leg is forward, that's fine. And just so long as you feel a stretch in the hamstrings. But if we don't straighten the leg, it won't ever straighten. So this is my very, very favorite and I believe most effective hamstring stretch. It isolates the hamstring muscles as opposed to forward folds that also incorporate the lower back. So this one's great. If your hamstrings are a little bit tight, this is my fave. So I'll just take a couple more breaths here. Make sure you're not creating any tension in the shoulder or in the jaw. And breath steady. Now bring your left hand to your left hip. Exhale, we'll open the leg to the right, but don't let the left hip pop up this time. Turn and look over the left shoulder. You know, the other day, if you practiced with us on our Monday class, we allowed our left hip to just pop right up off the floor, which we don't normally do. But today, we'll keep the left hip grounded. Sometimes we think it's grounded, so double check. Inhale the leg to center, switch hands with your strap. Exhale, take the leg off to the left and look right. Try and get that hip to move right up over the other hip. So you'll feel a good stretch maybe in your glute and your buns. Inhale the leg to center. One more stretch here. So we'll exhale, begin to bring the knee in, lift the head and shoulders up. Take another breath, stretching it out. And slowly release the head and release the foot. And just notice the difference. The right leg might feel a little bit longer than the left leg. And that's normal because it is a little longer. We just stretched it out. Then bend the left knee. Put the strap or the sweater sleeve, whatever you're using, on the ball of the left foot. So as soon as you lift the left leg up, look at that left hip wants to pop up towards your head. So we want to draw that left hip forward. So remember too, if you're tight, make sure the knee's not bent. Instead of that, have the leg be a little bit forward so you use more of the strap. Left hip's moving toward the right heel. The right hip's drawing in towards center, lifting up toward the head a little so that our hips are level. And just hold onto the strap with the left hand. Maybe wrap that strap around your whole hand for a little more comfortable position. And then double check, no tension in the neck or the shoulders or the jaw. Just a few more breaths. And again, it never matters how deep you get into a stretch, just as long as you feel that stretch in the backs of the legs. That's all that matters, especially the left leg. Now right hand on the right thigh. Exhale, open the leg to the left. Keep the right hip pressing down. Look over the right shoulder as long as that's okay on your neck. And again, making sure that we're not letting that right hip pop up this time. Inhale the leg to center. And then switch hands with the strap. Exhale, take the left leg over to the right, looking over the left shoulder. So last week you may have noticed our classes were in a different location. We were house sitting. And this week we're back at home and we're in one of our favorite parks. It's a beautiful day today. So a little bit spoiled in Southern California, I have to admit. Draw the leg in toward the chest, lift the head and shoulders up off the floor if you can, and draw that leg in to stretch it out one last time. And then we'll release it. And I do really appreciate nice weather because I grew up outside of Buffalo, New York, where sometimes the weather wasn't so nice. Bend the knees, roll off to your right side, press yourself up to seated. And then we'll come onto the hands and knees and we'll work a little on some lunges. So bringing the right leg forward for a moment and then straighten that leg. Come onto the right heel. Pull the right hip back so that the hips are level. Left hip's coming forward. Lengthen on the inhale. As you exhale, hinge forward from the hips to come forward and lengthen. So we want to try and keep the hips level. Don't let your right hip pop out to the right. And again, we're stretching out those hamstrings. So hands are on the floor. If you have blocks, get some yoga blocks or anything you can rest your hands on to prop you up higher. And you can start to work toward a split if that makes sense to you. If you have blocks, you can put block underneath your right thigh, the back of the thigh where the hamstrings are. If you're getting kind of close to the floor, but you're not there, bring your hands a little bit forward. Start to press into the hands, pulling the right hip back, sending the left hip forward. We want those hips to stay level. And we'll release back into table. And we'll do the other side. So left foot forward. And sink the hips forward for a moment. Then straighten out that leg. Lengthen as you inhale. Exhale forward. So watch that you don't stick your left hip out. We want to have the hips leveled. You can double check with your hands. You can stay right here folding over the straight front leg, or you could start to extend out in towards your split. But make sure, especially if you're extending out, that you're not letting your hips open. So you're squaring off the hips and the shoulders toward the front of your mat. Also, right toes point straight back behind you. And you can use a little bit. See, I'm rolling onto my left hip. That's not good. I want to keep my left hip off the floor a little until it gets there. And it's been there before. It comes, it goes. It's no big deal. And we'll release that coming back. Then tuck the toes, keep the knees bent, stretch out the spine, and then reach the heels toward the floor for down dog. And if you want to bend one knee and the other, here bicycling the legs, that's fine too. But it's better to bend the knees, lengthen out the spine, and then reach the heels any amount. And maybe the legs won't totally straighten here right now. And for today, that's fine. It's good in your down dog to get the length through the spine first and then work out the stretching of the legs, because we get hamstring flexibility in other poses. Here's one coming up. Walk the hands back to the feet. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. So if it's hard to straighten out the legs, bring your hands to your shins and stay right there. If you can fold forward and keep the legs straight, put the hips over the heels, but don't round the back. We want to lengthen through the spine. So keeping that length, and you'll stick your buns out back a little bit and even a little bit up to start. Then hips over heels. Inhale, press for the feet to come up. Step off to one side and turn your right leg all the way out, back toes in a little. Line up your front heel and your back arch. Inhale, bring your arms to a T. Exhale, so warrior two. That's how long we're going to have our stance. Knee over the ankle. Wrists will be right above the ankles. Then shift your hips back. Lean forward. Get as much length as you can. Right hand down, left arm up. This is a great stretch for the hamstrings as well. So you can have that right hand anywhere along the leg. Press a lot into the base of the big toe of the right foot as you draw your right hip underneath you. Get as much length as you can from the right hip crease through the right armpit, looking up toward the left hand. And then look down to come up on your inhale. Bring the feet to parallel. Here we go. Left side, left leg out. Bend the knee over the ankle just so that's how long we'll have our stance. The knee lines up with the ankle. So if I were to grow really long fingers, they should be able to touch my ankles. Shift your hips back toward the right. Lean forward. Take your left hand down wherever it reaches to. Might be the shin, it might be below the knee, might even be above the knee, but what we don't want is your butt sticking back and your torso leaning forward. We want the torso leaning back over the front thigh. Press a lot of weight into the base of the big toe of the left foot. Look down at the foot. If your neck bothers you, you don't have to look up. If your neck's okay, look up at your right hand. And then look down, come on up on your inhale. Feet to parallel, step or hop your feet together and turn back to face the front of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, hinge from your hips, folding. Inhale, look up, lengthen. And as you exhale, bend the knees, plant the palms, and step back. Either down dog to stay or come to plank. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale for cobra, or if it feels okay on your back, up dog, thighs and knees up. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Then look forward, come through and sit. Lie back and draw your knees into your chest. Keep your right knee hugging in. As you exhale, take your right knee over to the left side and turn, look over your right shoulder for a little twist. And then back to center. Right leg extends and take your left knee across. And then back to center. Tailbones reaching towards the backs of the knees. Bring your arms by your sides, your palms facing up. Close your eyes, let your feet flop open. Arms by your sides, your palms facing up, and just relax here for about a minute. While you're settling in, I have a quote from the Dalai Lama. I got to see some Tibetan monks this morning and got to hear some chanting and received a blessing. And so, of course, it reminded me again of the Dalai Lama, who's actually visiting Orange County right now. So the quote says, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." It's all about what the Dalai Lama's message is. Compassion. So rest now. And then we'll reawaken ourselves already, stretching out through the arms and the legs. Bend the knees, rolling off to your right side. Again, pausing for gratitude for all of our blessings. And then make your way up to seated. Sitting tall, bring the hands together in front of the heart. And bring our hands to the forehead, reminding us to have clear and loving thoughts. Our hands to the heart, reminding us to have clear and loving intentions. And hands to the mouth, reminding us to have clear, loving communication, sending out all this wonderful energy to all beings everywhere with compassion. Namaste. Thank you so much. Please push the like button, subscribe to our channel, please share our videos. If you can afford a donation, there's a link below. And say hello to Stone, our 8-year-old. Bye. See you later.